Welcome to class 9 students. Today I am going to start a new chapter with you all. After the completion of the chapter photosynthesis, under chapter number 3 only, the next sub-chapter is mineral nutrition. But we are not going to go through that because you have done the same thing in your first unit test. It consists of macronutrients, micronutrients, their functions. You have done all these things in the first unit test. There was a chapter in your first unit test syllabus, so I am not going to do the same thing. If you just read that only, that will be enough. Okay, so I'll move on to the next sub chapter, which is transpiration. Now, I'm not sure if you have heard of this term previously. This might be a new term for you all. Transpiration is basically, you see the definition in your book, the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the living land plant is known as transpiration. So just like we human beings give out our extra water of our body through sweat, means also through urine, but also to keep our body temperature cool, we give out the extra water through sweat. Similarly, living land plants, they also take up the water that they need for their various metabolic activities. They take up the water from the soil through the root hairs, and whatever water is extra, means they don't need it, they give out that extra water in the form of water vapor through a process known as transpiration. Okay, next you will find the difference between transpiration and evaporation. So evaporation is basically more or less, if you just think of the idea of transpiration and that of evaporation, you will think that both are more or less same, but there are important differences between transpiration and evaporation. Let's find out them. The first difference is transpiration is a physiological process. That means it takes place in living organism, and evaporation is a physical process. It takes place in non-living objects. Okay, next difference is transpiration is restricted to living land plants only, while evaporation takes place from any exposed surface, either living or non-living. So even if we have put water on our hand, suppose, and we don't rub it off with a towel, so the water will dry out eventually. It will take some time, but the water will dry out, and that is evaporation. Even if some water is there on your desk, suppose, it will also dry out on its own. That is, the water will turn into water vapor and it will evaporate. Okay, but transpiration, here also the excess water is given out in the form of water vapor, but it is given out in a physiological process, and it takes place only in living land plants. Third difference is transpiration process is controlled by protoplasm, which is the living part of a cell, while evaporation is not controlled by protoplasm, because evaporation takes place on the surface, means outside the surface of any living or non-living object, and that is due to our atmosphere. The evaporation takes place due to our atmosphere. Okay, next, fourth difference between transpiration and evaporation is transpiration, in this process pressure exerts on the GERD cells. So GERD cells, as you all know, that they gird the stomatal opening, and the GERD cells, the stomata opens when the GERD cells bulge out. Okay, and the GERD cells bulge out when they have excess of water in those cells. So pressure is exerted on the GERD cells to give out the water in the form of water vapor, while evaporation does not involve any kind of pressure. Okay, next is, it is influenced, means transpiration is influenced by both internal and external conditions, while evaporation is influenced only by external conditions. As I told you that due to the atmospheric conditions, evaporation takes place, but transpiration is influenced both by internal and external conditions. So I hope you have now an idea about what is transpiration and how it is different from evaporation. Now let me talk about the sites of transpiration. What are the different parts of the plant that take part in transpiration. The three main parts are, number one, stomata. You all know about stomata, so let's not talk more about that. Stomata, lenticel, and 3 is cuticle. Okay, so 90% of the transpiration of a plant takes place through the stomata. Let's look at the book. It is the chief site of transpiration. Stomata is the chief site of transpiration. It is, as you all know, where they are located on the lower surface of the leaf and both surface of isobilateral leaf. So basically for dorsiventral leaves, they are located, stomata are located on the lower side. Each stomata consists of 2 guard cells and a pore. About 80 to 90% of transpiration takes place by the stomata. That means about 90%, much more than the major part of transpiration. Major transpiration occurs through the stomata. The transpiration that takes place through stomata is known as stomatal transpiration. So the transpiration that takes place through these, the major part of transpiration, is known as stomatal transpiration. Clear? Moving on to the second one, which is lenticel. In tree and shrubs, a lens shaped small pore. So all these are basically pores through which the water vapor is released. So this one is a lenticel, is a lens shaped, lenticel, lens shaped, remember, like that, small pore that are formed at the surface of stem. The transpiration that takes place through the lenticels are known as lenticular transpiration. From the name, only the type of transpiration gets its name, lenticular transpiration. Okay, and the third one is cuticular transpiration, and these cuticles are basically found on the epidermis. Epidermis means the outer layer of the leaf and stem. Okay, so about 10 to 12% of transpiration takes through the cuticle, and rest 90%, 80 to 90% through the stomata, and very little percent through the lenticels. Okay, I hope I'm clear to you all. Moving on to the factors that control transpiration. Now, previously, while talking about the difference between transpiration and evaporation, I have told you that transpiration is influenced by both internal and external factors. Okay, so here we are going to talk about mainly the external factors. Internal factors means, if the external factors, we are going to talk about 4 external factors. But what are the internal factors? Internal factors like if the plant has enough water or not, if it has managed to absorb enough water from the soil or not. These are the internal factors. How much water is left unused that it can be given out given out as water vapor by the process of transpiration. All those are internal factors. We are not going to talk about those internal factors of transpiration, but we are going to talk about the factors, the external factors that control transpiration. Okay, so now let's jot down the factors. First one is temperature. Okay, next one is humidity. Third one is wind. Fourth one is light. These are the 4 external factors that affect transpiration. I will explain how these factors affect the rate of transpiration, that whether the increase or decrease in these factors increase or decrease the rate of transpiration. Okay, so how they are related, these factors are related to the rate of transpiration. I will discuss them all. Okay, and in the next video we will talk about these in details, how these factors affect the rate of transpiration, and we will also talk about the significance of transpiration. Why is transpiration considered to be so important? And there is another saying that transpiration is a necessary evil. Why? That justification is very, very important. So we will discuss all those in the next video. Okay, thank you.